Right, welcome back, and we're still on our coverage for the Kenya-Nairobi 5th Mid-Year Summit or Coordination Summit of the African Union, and three very important issues are supposed to be taking place or are topping the agenda of the talks: the economic development, the climate change issue, and the African continental integration or economic integration among regional blocs at large. To continue on with our discussion, we have with us over the phone His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We're speaking here about this important coordination summit that is taking place in Nairobi, and the importance at this very particular time of integration among the African continent states in light of the challenges the continent is facing.
Very important meeting, and I feel as an old diplomat very satisfied whenever we have those meetings regularly, because this means that we are using our important weapon, which is the presidential level, to tackle our issues. And as you well said, there are three main issues there. But in my practical life, I have seen in a meeting like that, everything which should come to your mind, it is on the table to be discussed. But let us say that this is good, because Africa is a big continent, the poorest continent at the same time. Africa is in a very bad situation because the flow of money going out of Africa towards the developed countries is much more than it receives.
Indeed.
It doesn't receive enough for its exports or to attract more foreign direct investment, but it pays its debts, it pays its invoices of imports. So we are trying to change this formula, and during the presidency of Egypt for the African Union, we made sort of an issue to call on those donor countries to invest more and more in Africa with the Egyptian experience, and everybody come with a benefit from that. And thank God that Japan agreed immediately when our president joined the TICAD conference in Tokyo. Europe agreed immediately, and China. So this is, I think, in my humble opinion, it is the most important issue in our continent now. The lack of finance, the lack of money. On the other side, we have challenges. We have to do what I call always our homework. Africa has a problem of the division in many countries between tribes and tribes. Africa is flooded with a lot of bureaucracy, which is an obstacle to any investment project or investor. We still have to ameliorate our banking system. We don't have first-class banks in Africa. It is a very rare case. Transport in Africa needs to be ameliorated. We don't have big ports enough to receive big ships. Road traffic, we are dreaming of having an autostrad from Alexandria up till Cape Town in South Africa.
Indeed, it's a dream. Your Excellency, here Egypt has been working on parallel lines in terms of fund, in terms of restructuring the African Union Commission and its bodies, as well as integration among the African blocs and states at the same time. So we're speaking here about parallel lines, finding funds in terms of Egypt has held this very important African Banks Summit that took place this or last month here in Egypt at the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh, and that also is part of Egypt's plan. You're reading to Egypt's efforts.
Yes, this is a very big issue also. The word is coordination among the different groups of Africa. We have three main groups. We have the COMESA on the eastern side of the continent. We have another group on the west of Africa. We have the South African group. And we, during the presidency of Egypt, we issued this initiative to combine all of these groups in one big free trade area representing 51 countries. It is an ambitious task, of course. It's not easy, but it is very important to know that we can do it. It will make one of the largest markets of the whole world, a market of 1,200 million inhabitants. This will be the largest free trade area in the whole world. And this, I think, will attract reasonable investors to come and to invest in our countries. But until we reach this moment, coordination is the word. That's why I am satisfied whenever those meetings take place, in order to see whether, whenever we have any obstacle or anything or any challenge, in order to see how to face it, how to solve it. Here is the place, especially under the leadership of our leaders of Africa, the presidents of Africa. And honestly, I think they are doing a wonderful job by those meetings.
Yes.
Also, in the bilateral level, I am watching the meetings between our president and many other presidents, whether the Kenyan, the Ethiopian, and others. So it makes a lot of benefit for the countries on the bilateral level also, because we have many things to discuss with Ethiopia. We have many things to discuss with many other countries to create new fields of cooperation and new fields of coordination. And I think that there is a lot of opportunities in order to make our life much better and much easier. This is the importance of such a meeting. It's an open floor to discuss whatever comes to your mind as Egyptian or as African.
Your Excellency, fund. Fund is the name of the game here. We're speaking about a continent very rich in resources, but lack the funding.
Yes.
The funding for its priority files, for its development, for issues that the continent is paying the price for what it did not do, for instance, the climate change.
Yes,
and Egypt has hosted this important meeting for banks, particularly the African Bank for Development and all the African financial institutions. What is requested from the international community towards this continent?
It is our duty to show them that there are many opportunities for making gains, but also, as I mentioned before, that why, if I am a banker or I am an investor and my money is still in my pocket, why to come to Africa and face all these complications? If I go to any place in Europe, in few hours I could make a lot of bargains and a lot of results in any stock market or any exchange rate. So, of course, we have all the reason to call on the International Monetary Organization and the regional also in order to encourage them to come and to finance whatever projects we are ready to start on. But same time, we have to make our investors much more happier. I mentioned briefly to the banking system, to the road transport, to the airway traffic transport, and the maritime transport. All these ways of transport needs to be much better than it is now. So the duty is on both sides. Those who are financing, but we have to understand that the financer also is looking forward to a place where he can get the best results for his money, and don't waste his time on what the bureaucracy is asking him to do. That's why really it took two sides to play this game. But I think Egypt is playing a very important role, since the presidency of Egypt for the African Union, because we started a lot of initiatives, and the feedback from all our friends and donors is positive. So let us start. And in economy, whenever you make a success story, it indicates good propaganda to others and encourage others to come and to invest in our countries. Egypt is among, and it's over all the countries in the whole African countries and the Arab world. We are one of the best countries who attracts foreign direct investment, and we should continue this. And we have to exchange our experience and give it to our brothers, whether in Africa or in the Arab world also.
Very much indeed, Your Excellency, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you so much for your input. And definitely lots of files is on the table for discussion in this mid-year important coordination summit taking place in Kenya, or the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Also issues of concerns on the bilateral and the common work would be also put, as well as Egypt's plans for the African continent at large, and for the groupings and blocs in particular, in its capacity as the chairman of the steering committee of the NEPAD bloc. I guess we'll be updating you throughout the day of the developments in our programs and news. So please stay tuned for our coverages throughout the day. Many thanks for watching.